Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. You already know who it is. The blackest hearted, blackest minded, blackest man on social media, signing blacking and shining again, asking you to hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So gentlemen, look, if you studied anything about accounting or finance, you know that there's something called inflation. And all inflation means is that something that was used to trade is now so widely available that it cannot be used to trade anymore. And that can even apply to money. If you print too much money, or something else happens to make the demand for things go down, if the supply of money exceeds its demand, then, well, that almost never happens. So then what winds up being the case is that it just takes ridiculous amounts of money to buy ridiculously invaluable goods, ridiculously cheap goods. Loaves of bread now begin to cost in the millions of the local unit of currency, which is something that happened in Germany between the two world wars, and it happened in Zimbabwe. I want y'all to keep that in mind. That oftentimes the ones who understand inflation the least are women. And see, this is why it is that they turn around and they make certain requirements, and they're not wrong for that. But all of their requirements are pretty much the same thing. The abundance of that which is already naturally rare. The abundance of that which God himself did not make abundant. So they're already demanding two mutually exclusive things, abundance and rarity, in and of itself. And this is why I say that it is nonsensical for us to sit up and try to cater to their materialism. F their materialism. The only part of that is legitimate for men to accept as a concern is the distance from poverty. But we are dumb, we are plumb fools if we're going to take their materialism into account and actually try to cater to it. Beauty and booty are far more common than the wealth that beautiful women with booties require. So they are actually inflating their own value to a certain extent. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm a broke dude. If I was, so father mucking what? I just fortunately happen to not be that. But I also want to point this out too. For men, your value then has to be deflated artificially. There are signs of this inflation in two ways you can see, and I'm going to point them out to you. Number one, polyamory. The requirement of multiple men to make one woman happy, despite the fact that amongst adults, men are usually outnumbered by women. Despite the fact that amongst adults, polygyny can work and polyandry cannot, and polyamory cannot. I mean, polyamory doesn't specify gender one way or another, but the fact is that women cannot be with more than one man in a functioning relationship. The times it does happen, the men are usually very closely related, so that one's child is at least the other one's nephew. That's actually the secret that people don't tell you when you do have polyandrous societies. But even then, that one wife can't treat them all equally. That can't happen. And I've had women, that's one thing I've never had women say that are contrary to. None of them have ever countered that point. I've asked multiple women, can you treat multiple men the same? No, I can't treat them equally. They're not equal. Do you understand now, gentlemen? So that's one way that you see this inflation of women's value and the deflation of men's value. Polyandry. And their demand for this. You be faithful to me, and I'm going to go and screw whoever else I want to. Women saying this to men. That's what you're dealing with now at this point. Because what they're saying is, you're never going to be their equal, let alone superior. Your value, as I've said before, starts off at a negative. That is an artificial deflation of your value. And it's not corrected when a woman that's hit the wall past her prime, or for whatever reasons has lost options in men, comes around and sees the light of day. That's not a correction, or that's an insufficient correction to that market travesty. That's why I said when they come around, but they're past their prime, they done put on extra pounds, picked up some other Negroes' kids, got crow's feet around their eyes, things that we gentlemen generally don't like. Except for me, the crow's feet around the eyes ain't the problem. And even I got limits. Even I, a man who does not mind being my age a bit older, still have my limits. So that's part of why I say, for most of you gentlemen who do prefer them younger, when they come around only when they got older, you say to them, for you to find me, you can never have me to yourself. You can't stop me from marrying someone younger. You got to deal with the competition and compensate, or we just don't get married. Additionally, you're going to sign away these rights here, or we just don't get married. That's why I told Muslim brothers to do that. And I even said to you non-Muslim cats, just don't deal with them. Don't validate them in any kind of way, except for that which suits you. They sign away certain expectations. And when they start asking for more, you bounce. You ain't gonna get this. That ship sailed. Done. And even if I got it to give, I'm gonna give it to someone younger. This particular combination that you want, ma'am, I'm gonna give to somebody younger than you. And I'm gonna reward that behavior. Your ship done sailed. You screwed that up, not me. Because they were already in a incorrect understanding of the market. They automatically and artificially inflated their value and deflated yours. Now, the other way that you see this inflation is going to be in men who try to meet their standards. And this is where I disagree with a particular Muslim coming out the UK about this. And that he ain't the only one. But I disagree with the PUAs about this. You're still telling men to meet Western women's standards as if that's going to help. Here's why it won't help. If men meet these standards, the women gonna move the goalposts. That's a part of that inflation. See, if everyone had $1 million tomorrow, prices are just gonna go up to reflect that. Now that's why when they send out stimuluses, they send them out for about 1,000 and some change. They don't send them out for no hundreds of thousands. They're not doing that. Why? Because they effing know. See, some people have said that within certain communities denoted by a name that starts, or an adjective that starts with a J, that kids at their coming of age ceremonies get tens of thousands of dollars in their name or in some savings or something like that. Maybe that's true, maybe not. I don't know. What I do know is that in order for that to even be of value to that particular group of kids, other groups have to not practice this. If everyone woke up with $1 million tomorrow, you think that $200,000 car on the lot is still going to be $200,000 on the lot? No. If you wake up tomorrow with $1 million in your account and you find this out, you're going to go to the dealership. Man, I want that $200,000 car. And that's when you're going to find out everybody else got $1 million. Because you're going to say, wait a minute, why is this car now $200 million instead of $200,000? And they're going to look at you and say, because everybody got $1 million. Ninja, that's why. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, if you were the car dealer himself and everyone's got $1 million, are you going to go down in price or even leave them the same? You're going to go up in price. It makes sense. Well, that's exactly what the work is like. When you sit up here and you say, well, I'm going to try to meet these standards for these wicked witches of the West. No, they're just going to go up in standards. Put you right back to where you were. What you must do is you must deprive them because they ask too much. She who requires too much gets nothing. She who requires less when in dealing with things that are of rarity already, like wealth. She who requires less in terms of wealth and muscles and height, because these things are not common anyway, gets more. But none of them should be allowed to sit back and just say, I want, therefore they get it from you. So do you need to go to the gym? If you can afford it and you got the time, yeah, go ahead. It's an investment in your health. That's for you. But when you get to the level where these wicked witches of the West are starting to look at you because you done surpassed up all these other dudes, that's when you say, wait a minute, I got the money and the muscles. Man, let me bounce and go over here to this other part of the world where they will appreciate something like that. That's what you do. You can't continue, you PUAs. And matter of fact, you don't even have to be a PUA. Any man that validates the standards of the wicked witches of the West, and if non-Western women develop these same standards, any man that values their standards too, validates them, tells men to meet these standards that are not reasonable, that are rare, can't be met by most men, is pretty much saying women have the right collectively to eliminate most men genetically. No, they may choose to do it, but it's not like they have some sort of right to do it, because all of them, Western or non-Western, are still going to complain later. When they've eliminated men in their youth and then turn around and they get older, they're going to complain about the absence of that which they themselves eliminated anyway. And you're going to feed into that. You're going to say you're not doing it. Well, I'm just an alpha man. I'm not part of the problem. No, feathermucker, you are. Because you validated the standards they have. You were no exception, really, when it comes down to it. You validated the standards. If you were short and you still succeeded with women, you compensated somewhere else. It's not wrong that you succeeded per se, but if you succeed with Western women, then you brag about it, and there's just something wrong with you. Because they're not normal. You listen to how they talk? Ask them tough questions and watch them waffle. They don't even have to really be that attractive. They could just be fake attractive. Pounds of fake up on their face. They bought a bust. They bought a booty. And then watch how dumb they get and ditzy they get. But they're still demanding. How you gonna be dumb, ditzy, and demanding? That's what they are. And you telling men to self-improve to attract the one that ain't worth it. No, self-improve for your benefits and then move to where they appreciate it. When you ready to start something. You niggas ain't getting it right when you say this. These are two ways you can understand how bad this inflation is, because when something is inflated, something else is deflated. If you inflate a balloon, you gotta deflate your lungs into that balloon, as an example. You could use those pressurized air containers. They're still inflated, even though they don't increase in size. They just increase in air pressure inside of them. Fine. You can turn around and use those to blow up balloons. You, with the helium and all that, yeah, you're still deflating them. They're no longer pressurized. Same size, but there's less air in them. Now they're deflated. They're depressurized. That's how it works. And these ladies don't feel a guck. They're going to inflate their value at the expense of yours till they get old and they realize that they would much rather have had someone. That's why you almost never see them young and attractive telling women to wise the uck up. Now, when you do see them young and nice looking, even just, decent looking, what do they complain about? We're not getting approached anymore. They still have not talked about the value of the men. Because you haven't forced them to. So anyway, now that we got that out the way, let me talk to Rommie right quick about something, Rommie. The Queen Maker. You done said that we ain't talking about solutions. No. We've been talking about solutions in the manosphere. Lion of MGTOW, as an example, shout out to him, says, give them nothing. That's a solution. Because Western women as a whole don't deserve anything. The ones of them who do also got shortchanged by the majority who deserve nothing. I feel bad for telling Stewart. For whatever reason, I'm inclined to believe her side of the story in the meantime till I hear something else. I feel bad for her. Because you, Rommie, y'all ain't talking about no solutions. You ain't heard everything I said. But after I addressed you before, you repeated the same thing. What about the solutions? I've already told y'all, Islam is the solution for black people in general, men and women. It's the solution for most people that are under distress. And if they're under distress, and they're Muslim, then it is going to be some sort of application of it, even if it is nothing other than the principles of self-defense, like what the Rohingya need. It's a solution. It is never part of the problem. When Muslims are suffering, it's usually because of Muslims that won't practice, that are in charge of them, and non-Muslims that hate them. Just as an example. But I already said that's a solution. Now, I'm not saying everybody black's gonna listen to me, but I done said it's a solution. So don't say we're not talking about any solutions. Now, one of the sub-solutions inside of Islam is something we manosphere men do generally agree on. Migration. Even white manosphere men agree on that. You fit the guck out the West, and every place outside the West ain't on point, but you know some of the areas at all, and you try not to ruin those environments or help people ruin them. I mean, some people have said that Sosua in the Dominican Republic got ruined. They're largely talking about paying to play, and maybe that did. I'm not endorsing prostitution, but let's say you start talking about marriage in these areas. Maybe that gets ruined too. I don't know. What I do know and what I do understand is that you leave places you're not appreciated. That's a solution too. Give them nothing. Leave. Self-improve, but deny the ones that require the self-improvement in the West in the first place. These are the things you got to do. We can't afford this staying here. And what it is that you don't like the solutions I'm talking about because they're tough solutions. Tough for women. Western women, white or black. What you want is for me to suggest some kind of solution, I don't know, continue to try, or I don't know, meet your standards. That's what you're looking for. You ain't getting that out of me. You ain't getting it out of men and listen to me for long enough. Because I don't think that you all standards even valid. I don't even respect your materialism. The standards you all think are natural and instinctive and biological and evolved, I don't even respect them. And I'm never going to. Because I don't think that God made you jacked up like this. Last thing I'm going to say is to Bets. I'm going to explain something that you had a question about or you were surprised about, didn't understand. Bets, you said that you weren't fully aware of how it was that lighter skin phenotype men of the black race would catch so much flack. And that you're fine with lighter skinned black men. You like that phenotype in black men. Bets, I understand that, but this is the thing. See, when one lady likes something, she usually does not understand easily or readily that other women may not like it. Or if they do understand it, they understand that others may not like that same thing. They will hide their own like of it and still mistreat someone of that type. To tell the truth, Bets, a lot of black women don't have a problem with light-skinned men visually. They don't look at us and say we're ugly, and they don't look at us and say that we're automatically handsome just because we're light-skinned. Deep down and instinctively, a lot of women don't care. To be honest with you, a lot of them don't feel a guck. When it really gets down to it, a lot of women naturally left to themselves look at other things. Dark skin may look good on some men. Light skin may look good on some other men, but men can't change colors to experiment with this anyway. So for the most part, it's not shade that drives women away from men, naturally speaking. You don't understand it because you're not under social pressure to eliminate light-skinned men and diss them and kick them off to the side and try to ruin their self-esteem if you can do so and get you a chocolate brother. You're not coming from an environment. Well, you may be in an environment, but you're not coming from a culture that only validates you if you're out in public with a dark-skinned man and invalidates you if you're out in public with a man that looks like he's mixed. You're not coming from that culture. African-American women are. Afro-Latina women, maybe not, but North American women of African extraction and black British women too, and even women in Trinidad and Tobago are under social pressure. They are under social pressure to leave alone lighter-skinned men that look like they're mixed. They're pressured, and they can't do anything to stop that. They can't stand up to it. because the ridicule is just too much for them to bear. You don't come from a society or a culture in which you're ridiculed for your individual choice for the most part. You could be with a short man and not be ridiculed about it. African American women don't come from that. And it's for this reason, Bess, that I say that even African American women that got some sense are going to have to separate geographically from their sisters that ain't got no sense. Even for their own safety, because if they preach too much ease for men and too much just fairness and justice for men in the mating market, if they simply preach against this artificial inflation of women's value and deflation of men's value, they are physically threatened, if not harmed. It's that bad. And it's one of the reasons I give a shout out to Nina Unrated, the one that was on Fresh and Fit podcast. One reason I give her a shout out, it ain't because I approve of what she did. I mean, she said, I done been turning tricks from age 18. I'm 42 now. She a professional trick turner. You understand what I mean? A 304. So I'm not congratulating her on that, but it is on her ability to tell these candid truths about the games that women will play. Every time something changes, there are women that have a scam to go along with it. She said, even as New York is decriminalizing buying them drawers, for the women, they're not doing so for the men. She alerted us men, this is what these women are gonna do. Make them turn their phone off. You turn yours on, get them on video consenting. Don't even get them to sign something. That ain't gonna hold up. No, get them on video consenting, because they're gonna try you. She said there are women that will just, if they can't have something, they'll just destroy it. That explains much of the game. That explains why the one thing that women ain't never been to men is uncomplicated and simple. I'm not just talking about sexually easy across the board. I don't mean that. I'm saying that just uncomplicated. That's one thing they've never been to men. Why? It doesn't always benefit them to be complicated and playing these games, because if it doesn't benefit them, then they'll do it just to harm you. That's what I was talking about earlier. Nina explained it better than I did. She confessed. She gave up the game. She ain't lie about it. And that's exactly what the hell I'm saying that women need to be doing. I don't respect, as I said before, I will respect a prostitute that does her job and then turns around and tells the truth, before I will respect most women that don't outright sell them drawers, but they like to tease, they like to strip, they like to use guys, that sort of thing. The regular run-of-the-mill Western woman right now trying to play mind games on guys she done friend zone is worse than the prostitute, because she don't serve a purpose at all. And yeah, I'm talking about access to them drawers, or at least honesty. Even a lot of Muslim women are doing the same thing. They still playing games. I'm like, no, quit playing games. Tell the truth to yourself and to us. What's really going on? Well, I'm not playing these games. Okay, fine, I get it. Are you gonna lie and say that nobody is? So anyway, I see the gentlemen that are now here to take attendance at my job. Went into the office. I'm about to go on in, get started, sign in, let them know I'm here, go to the next building, start teaching this class. And best believe, this year is going to be different, because I'm going to teach them red pill stuff as well. When the English lessons are done and I got students that advance, I'm going to put them on this red pill stuff, because it's already going global. And I'll be damned if I'm going to sit up and see Muslim men be the last ones to understand it. Because this is war. And I fight to win. Black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select, male power, because they don't like it. And black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.